Assalamu alaikum. Today we're here with Brother Isa. We got a couple of questions for the Muslim Ummah today. And we want to start off the first question. The question is, why is there major differences in Islam?
First of all, walaikum assalam, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Major differences in Islam, different geographies, different understandings, different cultural beliefs that creep their way into Islam. Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah 5:1, I have made your deen perfect. So if you have made the deen perfect, then there shouldn't be major differences inside. But a human being is infallible and make the mistakes. But now your major differences come in from actual following the correct traditions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those who after his passing began to follow enemies of Islam. Because a lot of the enemies in Islam were played out of position to where they was forced to take Shahada and become Muslim. So under the guise like, okay, wait a minute, this ain't a bad system, that I can still do my dirt. And then you had those who still wanted to do the things of the world that wasn't of Islam, so they began to mix the two in order to end up rising into power. So your major differences come in for those who follow the actual Muslims around that time frame, and those that actually follow the Prophet's enemies who rose up to power and to become leaders and begin to change things as you seem fit based on their lack of knowledge of Islam.
Can you give us one example on that, brother? Just one.
Let's go with Muawiyah.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that before Muawiyah became the caliph, Imam Hassan alayhi salam was caliph for a period of 6 months and some change. So Muawiyah's best interest wasn't for the betterment of the Muslim, but more of the betterment of power. And the fact that that his group of individuals were still materialistic in their dealings. Of course, he didn't have a correct knowledge of Islam, but now, throughout history, the man in power controls the pen, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So when Imam Hassan alayhi salam was, the caliphship was pretty much given to Muawiyah based on Hassan did not want to see the bloodshed of Muslims, plus some other political things that was going on at that time frame. But then when Muawiyah became to power again, he wasn't in the best interest of Muslims as a whole. So by him still having material things, material wealth, and people gravitated more towards that, and then with him being the ruler and having the pen, that's when a lot of the history began to be altered, changed, paying people to do hadith, paying people to fabricate hadith, making your lineage look a little more better than what it was, what the history actually reflected.
Alhamdulillah. Well, okay, how are the Muslims here in the United States? How are we a part of the Muslims all around the world? How do we connect to them? Like, how are we a part of them, or do they look at us as Muslims? Are we accepted, or can you just help us understand how we all connected?
Well, we're connected first through the vehicle Islam. We're connected through Shahada. Now, don't get me wrong, you have individuals in different parts of the world who do take on the attitude that, well, I'm better because I'm born here, or I'm better because I speak this, or I'm better because, this is what we do, or yada, yada, yada. But in the general man, bottom line, what connects us is Quran. What connects us is Allah's way of life. What connects us is the Shahada. If you say Shahada la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, that's it. That's all.
Okay.
Our separation is when you go outside of that and you think that you're right, that you're better than, based on because of your geographical location. But those that understand what being Muslim is and what is not, that Muslim worldwide is a brotherhood. This is why one of the reasons why the Quranic Arabic was so rich, because and it was totally different from any other Arabic that was being spoke, because once you're Muslim, you adapt to the Quranic Arabic. That no matter where you at in the world, you'll be able to recognize and speak to your Muslim brothers and sisters.
Alhamdulillah. Well, in a lot of these other countries and stuff, you got a lot of beef amongst the Muslims. How does that affect us in the U.S.?
Again, people have to think a lot of different parts of the world where Islam was predominantly based. You're still dealing with third world countries. You're still dealing with tribalism. You're still dealing with culturalisms. So what people need to realize, and you run across this a lot as Muslims, that the masses, the people that are not Muslims, when they see Islam, they automatically assume or equate us with the cultural differences in Islam. And a lot of times you'll see cultural things that has nothing to do with Islam.
Okay.
So this is where you see the beef. We know Quran tells us that the Muslim blood is sacred, but yet you will have Muslims who attack other Muslims. You will have other Muslims blowing up other masjids. This is based on ignorance and not understanding Quran. Just because a person may speak the language, may even have a Muslim name, doesn't necessarily mean you understand Islam in its entirety. When you have people around the world, now, check this percentage. Allah tells us in Surah 4, do not kill yourself. The word katala, or tu, meaning do not commit suicide, do not kill yourself. But so many people worldview is that, Muslims, you kill yourself. No, we don't kill ourselves. Allah tells us not to. Allah also tells us in Surah 5 that to kill one human being is like killing all humanity. If you save one human being, it's like saving all humanity. So you have a small percentage of the world Muslim population that feel that it's all right to go ahead and blow yourself up, it's all right to kill yourself, after Allah tells us in the Quran doesn't do it. So now we're talking a cultural difference versus Islam. And if this was the case, over the billion Muslims that's worldwide, we're talking about Australia, we're talking about France, we're talking about Malaysia, we're talking about the UK, we're talking about Canada, we're talking about America. How many of those people have you actually seen blow themselves up? How many of them people have you actually seen them take a blow at each other, regardless if we have a difference of opinion or not on something? You never seen any of these individuals take shots at each other like that, or even go to the extreme of even killing yourself, because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it really clear in Hadith, and again connecting the Hadith to the actual ayat in Surah 4 about do not kill yourself. It says that one of his servants killed himself with his blade, and he busted hell wide open, and that same blade that he killed himself with, he was stabbed with it repeatedly in hellfire. So what you have is cultural differences versus actual Islam. Again, Allah tells us in Surah 5, Ayat 1, this day forward I have perfected your deen. So never should it ever come to a point that any Muslim raises their hand towards another Muslim, regardless if I see things different, if we have things different. Allah also tells us in Surah 16, let's argue the best of fashions.
Okay.
So what part of that was you raise your hand to another Muslim, or because you were miseducated? Because we know the media has a way of miseducating the masses as well as other Muslims of what it is and what it ain't. don't get me wrong, you do have renegade groups, you have Muslims with some way out beliefs, but let's identify what what they believe. Let me sit down, let me ask you what you believe before I assume what you believe, and let us find our common ground.
I understand that. All right, well, thank you for that elaboration on that, Brother Issa. Assalamu alaikum.